Hello and welcome to the Blood Brothers podcast. I'm Rob Parker and I'm joined by Chris McDonald. Chris, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Very, very well, thank you. We're minus our good friend Sean Coleman today, who's on to much, I don't know. What's he doing? I don't even know where he is. Anyway.
MIA.
MIA. Well, good way to be. And we are joined today by the stellar author of books such as the new Hinton Hollow Death Trip and Good Samaritans. It's Mr. Will Carver. Hi, Will. How are you?
Good day. You all right? Yeah, I'm good. It's warm. I've got a coffee. The kids are locked away with tech. And, rocking.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to extend that same question to Chris. Chris, how are you this fine Sunday afternoon?
I'm great. Yes, I'm in Leeds. I'm not in my usual place, so I feel a bit... In fact, this office is more than I have at home, so I'm actually debating whether to come to Leeds every week to do this.
So you maybe, Sean's going to have to edit that out. I don't know what I was going to say. He's just going to give it some problems to deal with later on. Hinton Hollow Death Trip is your latest publication. Will, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh, I should have really prepared something, shouldn't I? Yes. Hinton Hollow is a made-up town, but it's supposed to be every kind of rural, small village where everyone knows everyone. And it tells a story of Detective Pace, who leaves London after the last book, Nothing Important Happened Today, and returns to his hometown. He is followed by a darkness, a presence, and the whole story is told from the point of view of evil itself. And yes, things unfold and, shit hits the fan.
When I picked up a copy and I read the back that hook told from evil itself, I was like, wait, what? What? Yeah, that is one of the most unique perspectives I think I've ever come across. I
don't know. I mean, I think the thing I think about most whenever I write a book is how it should be told. And I know, you do get writers who write the same book over and over again in the same way, it's them.
Yeah.
And I just think at one point I was going to tell the story in reverse. I was going to tell it from the end and work back to the beginning, and you find out who it is. And that I couldn't quite get it to work. And then I just had this idea of I had the whole story written, and I was like, wouldn't this be better if it was told by evil? I don't know where it came from. And I think it kind of works. So, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely works.
Good.
Works. Yeah. Chris, you have one of those lovely Goldsboro hardbacks, don't you?
I did, yeah. I think the pre-orders came out around the time of my birthday, so I thought I'm going to spend some money on this. And then I couldn't wait to get it, so I bought it on Kindle as well and read it, and then it came. But it's lovely on my shelf.
That's it. Yeah, untouched. Yeah.
So was there? I mean, you penned the whole thing, and then you decide, hang on, I'm going to switch the perspective, the narrator of the entire book. Is that how it worked out?
Yes. So yeah, I'd written about. So this is my longest book by far. I wrote the entire book once, trying to do this reverse thing, and then I scrapped that, and I then couldn't just turn it around and write it forward. It lost all of the tension I'd created from writing it in reverse, so I had to write it again from the beginning, and then I got to the end, and I just thought it was just crap. So I kept the idea and a few of the chapters, but I just deleted it. It was about 98,000 words. I deleted it, and then I went again with evil in mind, writing as evil, which is great fun.
How was that? I was going to say, how is that? Yeah, adapting, because when you think of evil, you just think of something kind of faceless, don't you? A faceless bad. Yeah. But you gave evil an entire character, and Like, he didn't want to touch some people because they were all already doing fine with their bad behaviour.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't need to be made any worse, those people. But how did you how did you go about inhabiting evil? That's the boldest question I've ever asked on here.
I think, yes. I think I created an evil that was kind of nice, and like his heart was in the right place, you know.
Yeah.
I'm saying he, him, whatever. He's evil, wants an easy life, and because people are being so horrible now, it's making his life harder because he has to be even more evil to show that he's still around, you know, and he's relevant. And I kind of like the idea that he didn't want to touch, you know, do anything, you know, to kids because they're so pure. And he likes kids, like evil likes kids because they're not evil. It's just, you know, I just thought it was fun. I just had a lot of fun with it, really.
No, I think now I've got to a point where, you know, when someone says to me, give me your, you know, favourite people to have at a dinner party from fiction, and I'm going to ask for Will Carver's Evil.
Yeah,
to come to a dinner party. I think it'd be a riot, you know.
Yeah. Just a top bloke. Yeah.
Did you spend time crafting him before you started writing, or did you kind of just see how he felt whilst you were writing?
I think a little bit of him was informed from the previous book. You know, he had like the interspersed chapters with the thoughts on society and everything. And I didn't want him to be that dark and horrid, even though he's evil. So yeah, I think a lot of it came from that. It was just my way of having a bit more fun with that social commentary voice, you know. Yeah,
and certainly not as because it would be very easy to slide into certain tropes of social commentary in the present environment, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But to go at it from the point of view of evil gave all new spin that was really enthralling. Really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, Chris, our Twitter feeds have been going off with people asking questions, haven't they?
Some really great questions this week.
Yeah.
And Sharon Berden sent him quite a nice one that fits with what we've been just talking about. So it said, your books are so intense, and she'd like to know how easy it is to switch between dark writing and then... She's assuming you're a lovely guy when you're not writing.
Yes.
So how do you flip between the two? Do you find it easy to switch off, or...?
She assumed wrong. No. I don't know. I think when I was younger, I was certainly a lot angrier than I am now. You know, university, I was just like that angry young man, you know. But I guess, yes, I do. I tend to... You know, I set myself up, and I always write in the evening because I have, you know, my kids and other work and things. And then in the evening, I think I can sit down and reflect on what I've read in the news, you know, what I've seen in the playground. Oh, God, you know, that's the worst. That's the worst. You know, so, yeah, it is easy to flip between the two, especially if you've got split personality, which I do. No. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's always on your mind. Anytime I'm writing a book, the things I'm writing about are always there. But yes, you can switch it on once you sit at your keyboard. Yeah.
Do you take downtime between books, or do you kind of speed on to the next one?
As soon as I've finished one, I immediately hate it. I don't want it in my life anymore. I just want to send it off, and that's it. It's dead to me. So as soon as Hinton Hollow Death Trip was like, yeah, this is good. We've got an edit coming through. I'm like, good, it's dead. I don't want to talk about it, hear about it, anything. And I move on to the next one. And I tend to write something else in between. I was saying to you the other day that I like to write something kind of for myself that's maybe not crime. But I don't always finish them. But I just to get away, because I think sometimes, especially if you have a series, I know mine's not technically like a series character. It's very loose, but I knew when I wrote the January David series, I needed to get away from him for a bit. And it's just, so I'll write something for myself in between that will probably never see the light of day.
Yeah. Do you plan on going back to the original series?
So, in Nothing Important Happened Today, there was one scene on a bridge where two other police detectives were there, and one of them was January David. I didn't mention him by name. and the other one was Paulson, which I did mention by name. So yes, I have this very loose series with pace, and I've got some characters from all the books that I'd then like to just expand into this world that would eventually drop January David back in, because I have another book for him.
Very
yes.
Cool. So like the expanded Carver-verse, almost.
Yes, that's it, exactly. yeah. What a place, yeah.
Yeah. And Evil's just in there somewhere, knocking about, getting up to his own, his usual tricks.
That's right. Well, I think with Maeve, who's been in all three, I'd like to do a book that's on her, like a female nutter. Yeah. But I don't know what her story is yet, and I don't know how I'm going to tell it. But yeah.
These themes. I mean, when you're talking about stepping away from writing and having like a palate cleanser, pretty much.
Yeah.
Do you do that with your reading? Do you like to read the same kind of stuff that you write?
No, I don't. I don't. I've always been quite outspoken about this, but I don't read a lot of crime fiction at all. Yeah. Really, and I think that's maybe why my stuff isn't as crime fiction-y as as it could be. I do have people. I went through this phase where I'd meet crime fiction writers. I spent a year reading anyone I met. I'd be like, right, I'll read one of their books. So I read like hundreds of books one year on crime fiction. I was like, saturated. So I rarely do. I do a little bit more now. I'm meeting a few more new people coming in, and I like to see what they're doing. So. Yeah, and especially with the Arenda list, I've never done any translated fiction before, so I've kind of got into that a bit more. So it's opened up a whole other world to me.
Nice. We had Louise Beach on about, I think, 10 episodes ago now, maybe something like that. She said you were reliable on the road shows for for fun times, I think.
Good. Yes. I mean, I'm usually the first one in the bar and the last one on the coach. That's pretty much it.
Not a bad way to be.
No, I know.
I think that sounds like, maybe like George Best or Paul Gascoigne, like one of the great football icons of the past.
Yes. I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Will Carver is Arenda's Paul Gascoigne. There you go.
Yeah.
It's not a quote that you could really put on many books, I don't think.
No. I'd have it though. Yeah.
Do you have? Are you conscious then that, about pushing the envelope? Because I mean, there is certainly in terms of narrative. I mean, it's just the stuff I read from you, Will, is so different every time. And are you aware of how much that you are pushing the envelope with the genre?
I guess I guess I'm not in the fact that I don't read a lot of crime fiction. No, it's very nice at Arenda because I can do anything I want, really. It's so nice. I mean, within reason. But I have that freedom. Whereas, obviously, the first series, the January David series, with Random House, it was big publisher. If they tell you to put an extra 10,000 words in and put a love interest into the story, you kind of do because you're new, and it ruins your book and your career. But with Arenda, I do have that freedom. When I said, in Nothing Important Happens Today, the detective doesn't come into the book until page 96. It's crazy to not have your main detective come in for a third of the book. But Karen's great, and she gives me that freedom, and it's very liberating.
Yeah, that's really cool. It reminds me, another book immediately springs to mind like that is actually Ian Fleming's The Spy Who Loved Me. James Bond's not in it until
amazing.
He's not in it until about 200 pages.
Amazing. See,
I kept looking at the front like, this is right. I've picked up the right one here.
Amazing.
Yeah.
On the subject of Karen and Arenda, how have you ever written anything where she's been like, that's too much, or is she fairly okay with? Because Louise Beach was talking about red pen for sex scenes.
Well, I've heard of this, but obviously Good Samaritans, very sexy book, but it was kind of needed for the story, the characters. It wasn't just chucked in there because I wanted to say cock and boobs. It was, it needed to be in there. There was nothing really nothing important happened today. I was just told I needed a little bit more lightness because I was just relentlessly, the world is shit, but nothing really got taken out. And then in Hinton Hollow Death Trip, there's just the one scene that Karen said, basically she said, you can't kill a cat. And I said, well, why not? And people go mad if you kill a cat or a dog. Readers don't like it. And I said, I killed a 5-year-old boy the chapter before. I mean, why are people not stressed out about that? So,
I'm not laughing about that. Yeah. But Trump was so right about this, though. Mike Craven just said, I remember seeing him at his launch for Black Summer. He just said, we've done so many awful things, but they've said, like, I am going to lose readers if I let something happen to the dog.
Yeah.
Like that guy, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. So when I was reading Hinton Hollow, and I was like, is he going to... Oh, yes, he's killed the cat. Yes, he's gone for it. Like that kind of thing.
I know. And
a terrible reaction, really, by me.
Yeah. And, the guy who does it has killed 100 pigs that day. And it's like, come on, let's step back and have a think about it. So I think we did kind of change that a bit and move it around. And then I put a little bit afterwards that basically says, from Evil's point of view, dear reader, have a little think about this because you've seen a kid die and pigs and all of this. Please read on. But I'm sure there will be people who read that and shut the book.
Yeah.
And fuck them, I
mean, yeah. I like you say, there's so much darkness can be explored in books, and if you're going to get upset because, and what's the difference between all those pigs and a cat? Nothing really. It's just a cat's domesticated, isn't it?
Exactly.
And that's the only reason people get upset about it. I understand, and this is probably, committing career suicide even talking about this, really.
Yeah.
But,
do a good edit on this bit.
Yeah. Oh dear. Chris, have we got any more from the ether, from the social media ether?
Chris Scotland's kind of asked about your publisher as well, just saying, how liberating is it? I mean, we've kind of touched on it, but do you feel like there's no idea that you can't explore with Orenda, or are there some areas where you think, I might be pushing it now?
No, I do. I feel completely free. That the sex thing does come up. When we're on the road show, people talk about it. It does become a problem. But like I said, with Good Samaritans, it was there for a reason. So if it's there, and it should be, I think, Karen's not a prude. She just doesn't want it in there if it doesn't need to be.
Yeah. Can you tell us then about your sort of writing life? Like, when did you start, and how did you first get into it, and things like that?
So I was at university studying theatre. I wanted to be a playwright. That was my initial thoughts. And then university kind of sucked my love of theatre out of me. It just killed it. It was, I still did well on the course, but it just wasn't what I wanted it to be. I really wanted to go there and learn something, and I didn't. So also while I was there, I read Fight Club. Talk about this book all the time. It's like massive impact on me. But I used to read a lot, and then I read this book, and I just thought, I can't believe you're allowed to write a book like that, like in that way. It's a tiny little thing, but so much in it. And I thought, I'm going to try and write a book. And so I did. I started writing at university a book. Originally, it was called Suicide Thursday. I know. Yes, it was like this. It was like a black comedy about a guy who couldn't finish anything. He hated his job and his girlfriend, and he wanted to write a book. He couldn't. He could only write a first chapter. So he opened up this book shop of all his first chapters, and he sold them on to people who couldn't start books. But at the beginning of the book, his best friend kills himself, and it inspires him to finish something, just like his friend did, albeit his own life. Wow. So yeah, and essentially, I got myself an agent. That was sent around, and people liked the writing style, but no one wanted to make it into a book. But I had an editor at Hodder say, "Oh, you should try writing crime fiction. I think your style would suit it." And I was like, "Oh, I don't read that. I don't really know what to do. But if you're going to read it, I'll do one." And I wrote Girl 4 in about 6 weeks. And they said, "Nah, don't want to publish it." But then a couple of weeks later, someone at Random House said, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's turn it into a series." So that's how I got started.
Tell me that original book, that original idea. You've still got it, and we're still going to get that at some point.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, well, I render. Let's see. She might go for it, but yes, I like it. I like it still. It is still in, a file somewhere. I do delete everything that I think is rubbish. So if I write a book and I think it's awful, I don't keep it somewhere. I just get rid of it forever. But I have kept that. Yes.
Not even to go back and go, wow, look how far I've come and all that. I've got so many screenplays that are appalling. Yeah, sometimes go back and have a look and go, like, wow, no wonder this never got made.
No, life's too short. I just get rid of it. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Right. So you've mentioned your love of Chuck.
Yes.
What is Fight Club your favourite, or what's up there?
I love Choke.
Yeah,
I think that is brilliant, and it's just so dirty. I love it. What else? Survivor, Lullaby. The first kind of 5, were brilliant, and I loved. I loved Snuff. Did you read Snuff about the woman going for like the orgy record?
I don't think I've read that one.
Basically, the Annabelle Chong thing where she had sex with 400 men in a couple of hours or whatever. This book is like a fictional version of someone trying to get that record. And he wrote it in a way, he wrote kind of every chapter from someone else's point of view. And I think I read that fairly close to writing Girl 4. And that's how I split it up. Or all of the chapters were either from the killer, the victim, kind of speaking, knowing they're going to die, and the detective. And it hadn't been done a lot then, which is why it was kind of very different when it came out. You see it a lot now. And I think that's why that book was successful. My only success. Yeah.
Now, can I ask then about where you get your ideas from? Because in a little while I'd like to ask what you're working on right now, if you can talk about it on a podcast. But when you, do you have ideas that percolate for a while, and then that one comes forward naturally, or do you?
Yeah, I get a lot of ideas in the shower. I don't know why. I just did. But yes, if I just go through my phone, the notes thing, I found one recently that was kind of like from 3.5 years ago, and I'd just written a couple of sentences down, and I was like, oh yeah, I need to write that. So I keep all my ideas there. And yes, I tend to I'll just go in and write like 5,000-10,000 words and see how it opens up. And if it keeps my interest, then I'll keep going with it. But they come from everywhere.
How many books do you think you've abandoned?
Forever and deleted?
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't know. 6 or 7 maybe. But I've got a few. I've probably got the same amount as like a back catalogue. Yeah. That I can maybe push out at some point. We'll see.
Yeah. So really, the books that we see of yours on the shelves is the tip of the iceberg, really. Of your
definitely. Yeah,
work.
I've got lots of stuff. I write a lot. I write quite fast, so I can get a few things done each year, and I can write a couple on the go as well. So yeah, I've got a lot. It's just finding someone who'll say, "Oh yeah, we'll do 3 books a year," or
Yeah. Could you do that? Could you? If Karen, for example, was able to say to you, "Yeah, well, let's do 3 books a year," would you be able to go? Yeah,
definitely. You'd have if I could afford to eat as well. Then yes, yeah, definitely could. If I was doing it, it's harder now. My first series, I was full time. All I was doing was writing, so it was I could just sit there. I could have all my work done by lunchtime, just hang out in the afternoon, But now it's like some days when you don't get to start until midnight. It's like, so it is harder. So yeah, I would like that. No, yeah. That freedom would certainly afford me the opportunity to write more.
What about different genres? I mean, have you got like a burning desire to enter into any genre in particular, or is there any genre you'd steer miles clear of? I'd love Evil's take on a novel, by the way. So.
I wouldn't mind dipping my toe in that. I don't know. I think I'd be quite scared to do something sci-fi because I haven't read enough. I've seen a lot of films and things, but I do have one idea that I've written a bit of that could work. It would be quite a short sci-fi novel, but no, I'd love to do anything. I do, I just think I've got this idea that I'm some kind of literary guy, people say, "Oh, you write crime, so you can't write literary stuff." It's like, oh, shut up. So yeah, I think I'd like to. It's just whatever the story is, and however I want to tell it, whether it comes out as a crime or a love story. I mean, I think of Girl 4 and Good Samaritans as love stories, because it is. It's the lengths that people go to stay together, even when they shouldn't. Yeah. I think it's more about that. There's just a crime in there as well. When I first wrote Good Samaritans, there was no murder. There was no detective. It was just this story of this dysfunctional relationship in this tiny little box where nothing really happens. No one would buy that, so chuck a murder in and give it a detective. Done. Yeah.
When you did that, did you have the sort of detective pace stories mapped out, or did you just think this is going to be a one-off? Did you see it as a series?
So I saw one of the questions on Twitter that was really good about having this the pace thing mapped out. So after the January David thing died, a horrible death that ruined my life.
We'll touch on that later.
I couldn't write another January David book. No one would buy one. The third one didn't sell nearly enough copies. So I wrote a new book that was set in this fictional town called Hinton Hollow with detective pace. And this was the first incarnation of it. And it was kind of the backwards thing. It got sent out by my agent at the time. I remember an editor saying, "It's too clever. It's too clever for me. It's going to be too clever for readers." So it's like, oh, right. So that's when I decided to switch it round, and it died. It lost all its impact. So I knew pace was there. So when I was writing Good Samaritans, I did think in my head, I'd like to tell that Hinton Hollow story and get Pace's story out. So I crowbarred him into that story, and he's only really in it in kind of news footage, and but I quite like the idea of having that small character that then gets a big story, and I thought that would be a really cool way to do a series, that every book has a character that then has their own book somewhere down the line. The Carver verse, yes, yeah,
the Carver verse, yeah. That as a writer, that would keep you engaged as well, wouldn't it? Certainly off the top of my head, I can think that'd be ace if you could just take these great characters that just have smaller roles in earlier books and then just do a book for them.
And with Nothing Important Happened Today, that was originally a January David book. It was supposed to be the third one, and I was kind of going for a new deal. So I wrote the fourth one, and my editor said, "Let's scrap that one. You can have this one, and you're not having a new deal." I was like, "Oh, great!" So that book just sat there as a January David book. I was just so chuffed that it did. At the time, it was heartbreaking, but I'm so glad it did because I got rid of January David and I put Pace in, and I completely changed it, obviously, with the with who did it and why and everything. So, yes.
Very cool. Again, I love hearing these stories because everyone comes to where they are in the writing world from such a different journey. Yeah. Everyone's journeys are so different and mould them in certain ways, etc. I always find that interesting. But also, it makes me not feel quite so bad about my own writing career and my own current state of affairs and stuff. You know, if we're all going through the same kind of problems and the same kind of hurdles and stuff like that. Speaking of going forward, what are you working on at the moment?
So I've got a couple of things on the go. Obviously, I've got the one for me, which is kind of a just fun. It's like Rosemary's Baby meets Groundhog Day. It's weird, but it's fun to write. I'm just kind of tapping away at it, just turning off all my instincts and just going. And then, but the next book that will be out is another Hinton Hollow book, I hope, which is set kind of 20, 30 years before. And in the book, I mention a small character just a couple of times, and it is that story, and it's a revenge book. I've always wanted to do a revenge book, but
nice.
but I'm writing it as an oral biography, so you never hear from the person that it's about. It's everyone in the town, little snippets of what they thought of different events, and so that's. Hopefully that'll work. I think that's the way it should be done. Yeah.
Wow. Sounds great. When do you envisage it being out?
I guess same time next year, this time next year. But I haven't written a lot of it because I'm having so much fun with the other one. But I know where it's going. I know where it's going. Again, this was kind of an idea I had a while back. So yeah, I'm exploring it, re-exploring it.
It blows my mind how you can have... I mean, you can sort of, like, certain things, like, more than one thing on the go, fine, but then the complexity of what you do, split across a few different things at a time, like, I don't know how you manage it.
Just keeps it interesting, you know, I think.
Big brain.
Well, maybe.
Are you on that topic? Our favourite question: are you a
the old plan and pants? Yeah, I don't plan. I plan kind of a couple of chapters at a time. So I have like I see people with their, you know, Post-its and everything lined up on a massive dining room table, and no, I don't. I know I spend so much time on that first 10,000 words to make sure it's set up, and then just go. Yeah, 3 or 5 chapters. Make sure I'm saying what I want in that chapter, and then keep going. Yeah, I know what it is in my head. I don't need to write it down. It's wasting time.
Yeah, because this podcast was born in lockdown. We always ask about how lockdown has been. How has it been for yourself?
It's been all right. It's been all right. I mean, I don't want to see people anyway normally, so it's fine on that front. It's fine. The home learning thing is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. You know, it really is. But I realised that actually, if I'm organised with that, it's much better than just, you know, pantsing it. You know, yeah.
Yes. Here we go. This is it. The conversation.
It's the only time I plan anything. I have to have it all laid out. Yeah. But I think I was thinking to myself, I can set up the kids' work, and maybe I can write something or I can do something. But no, I decided just give them all the attention until 3:00, and then do your thing. Yeah, you can't. I couldn't do them both. Yeah. Which is weird because I have 78 books on the go at once, but I can't. Yeah, I know, awful.
Would you say your productivity has decreased then, obviously, in the last few months? Or
no, I don't think it's gone anywhere. I think I had to do the edit on Hinton Hollow, like pretty much when we went into lockdown. I was doing that, so I just carried on with that, and then once that was dead to me, I just moved on to to the next project. So no, I think it's been about the same. I know some people have struggled, and then there are other people who are like, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me with my writing. But I think I've just carried on as I normally do.
Do you think in like 20 years' time, say, or maybe less time, you'll go back and read your books again, or are they literally like, that's it, done, never to be read again?
Oh God, no! I wouldn't waste my time. There's so many other books that need to be read. I'm still catching up on things. I only read my first Graham Greene book like a year and a half ago. I'm like, oh, you idiot! Why have you waited? So there's too many other books. Too many other books to read. I don't know. Maybe Nothing Important Happened Today. I'd read again. That's still my favourite one.
Is it?
I feel like it came out exactly as I wanted it to. Like I didn't waste a word. That's how I feel about that book. Whereas this one, there's maybe a couple of pages of fluff in there, but with nothing important. It was exactly what I wanted it to look like. Yeah, so maybe that one.
Yeah. Do you get? I'm sorry, Rob, I'm dominating. I was just going to say, I love book covers, and do you get a say in? Because your three in the detective pace so far have been quite different, but all stunning. So, do you get a say in them, or are you kind of given what you're given?
Yeah, I definitely get a say. Yeah, the guy that designs the covers for Reddit, he's brilliant. Yeah. He's brilliant, and he really gets what you're going for, and you can talk to him about what you think the book is about. And Karen and Wes will put their 5 pence in. Some of the covers that I think that you don't use would have been brilliant. Yeah. The things that you don't see. And yes, I think you also have to bear in mind that something you love, someone wouldn't pick up, in a bookshop just because you love it because it's yours. So, yeah, but it's very collaborative. It's very collaborative. So, yeah, you do get a say. And he's brilliant. He'll come up with so many.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any really difficult decisions? Like, maybe there's been 2 you really love and you've had to say one's got to go. Has there ever been any, when you're picking a cover, any really difficult choices?
Yes. Nothing Important Happened Today. That was tough. I really liked this super colourful cover. And then the cover that it ended up being, I saw it and I was like, oh God, I do like that. So yes, I do. But I also get to the point that I do with a book where I'm just thinking, oh, it's done. Yeah. Just pick one. I don't care anymore. Just pick it, print it, and I'll give you another one in a few weeks. Yeah.
Chris, are you aware actually of Will's prowess with a guitar?
No.
Oh, how do you know this?
I was a audience member in Newcastle last year at Cabaret Night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was very, very funny, Chris.
What did you do?
It was very, very good.
I don't know. I don't know. When I play songs, if I play them in front of people, I tend to go for something really depressing or really stupid. And I think that night we got there. It was, it's a lovely festival, but that night it was like, there's no amp. The mic's crackling. There's not even a guitar here. We're waiting for Doug Johnston to turn up with a guitar. So we sat in a room and I just thought, let's do some stupid songs. So I just picked some silly songs. I like Flight of the Conchords, that kind of stupid stuff. And I'd done some in at Bloody Scotland as well. I've got this stupid rap medley that I do when I've had a few, but with an acoustic guitar. I didn't do that in Newcastle, but it's just fun, and it's nice, to if you read my books, for me to then get up and play something like that. It's,
I've done open mic a few times, and I've, when you sort of haven't read the room right, and I played Hurt by Johnny Cash in like a student bar, and that didn't go down well. Like everyone looked depressed. Yeah. And then I played Afro Man because I got high. Another one. and that seemed to go down better because it was sort of more upbeat and stuff. And then I followed it up with a Leonard Cohen song, and it took the mood right back down again.
Amazing. It's funny because
Chris, I didn't know your musical prowess,
I wouldn't
Chris.
call it that. I was in a band at uni, and we were all right. Before getting a book published, it was my proudest thing to date, where we were Loaded Magazine's Song of the Month.
Wow.
So that's
nice, man.
It's not
That's
cool,
very cool.
Loaded Magazine, but it was something.
Yes.
You got to put that on the book. From Loaded Magazine, Song of the Month.
Yeah. 2010.
Yeah. I have a friend who's an actor, and he started doing some stand up, and I was talking to him about it. I said, "Oh, that's tough, like reading the room, like you say." And he said he went out one night and absolutely bombed. He couldn't have been worse, and they were just looking at him, blank stares, and he came off. I said, "That must have been horrible." He was like, "It's amazing." He said it's the same feeling as when everyone laughs at you, and he's kind of really got into it. Like, it doesn't matter if you bomb or everyone laughs. It's such a high being up there. So
really, so it's win-win for him regardless.
Apparently, yeah.
How good is that? I wish I felt
I know.
books. It's bomb.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you seen him perform?
I haven't seen his stand-up. He's also a magician. He's brilliant at magic, and I've seen him in films and TV and things, but I've never seen his stand-up. He has invited me, but I haven't been able to go yet.
Have you managed a pint in a public place since lockdown, sort of half semi-lit?
So before we were allowed into pubs, there was a place in Reading, a pub where they would allow one person in at a time. And you could go and buy a pint, and then there's like a green opposite. So I cycled up there, 6 miles, grabbed a pint, sat on the green, and a couple of my friends came from elsewhere on their bike, and then we all sat like meters apart and had a pint. So we did that. That was quite good fun, and a bit of exercise as well. But yes, I did. I went to Waitrose last week, and on a Super Saturday or whatever it's called, and walked past the pub opposite, and there was no one in there. I mean, I saw all these pictures of like Soho rammed, like everyone together, and I went into this pub, and there's about 4 people. So,
you see, this is it. We've got to save these places, guys. We have to. This is our civic duty. If at the pub over the road from me, I can see from my window that there's no one there. So I'm like, right, I've got to be a responsible, member of society and get these local businesses firing again.
Way to be strong, man. Yeah, good. Yeah.
Clutching for any silver lining I can about the situation. Very cool. Do we have Chris? What have we got on our slate now? We got a running order, haven't we? But without Sean, we're all
we do a thing every week called the 1-Star Superstar, where I read a 1-star review. You have to try and guess what the book is.
Oh wow! Okay, cool.
Are you ready?
I
hope it's one of mine. I've got some crackers. Go on.
I said at the start of this whole podcast I would never be so cruel as to read out a 1-star of their own, and then Rob did it with Shari LaPena.
Yeah, amazing.
Like, literally just read one of hers too about how this person... It wasn't even funny. It was just like this person didn't like it.
She did ask for it.
It's like, oh, heck, I've just read that out.
We'll come on to yours in a minute.
I had one saying, "Oh, Will Carver is clearly an American trying to be English." 1 star. There's no comeback unless I record my voice. Yeah.
Right, we'll do the competition then. We need to talk 1 star.
So 1 star, disturbing. This really is an unpleasant book. It's supposed to be an allegorical, even supposedly in the same way as The Graduate. Whatever. The violence is brutal and relentless, and if people get pleasure reading about men getting their faces reduced to pulp, then I'm not sure what it says about them. Allegedly, it is also the first mention of the word snowflake, as in the snowflake generation. Many people obviously feel the opposite of me and clearly must make up their own minds. It may be regarded as a cult book / film, but I feel that in itself is a sad indictment of today's society.
You've chosen this because I love it.
I have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it Fight Club? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it when Oh, that's amazing. Is that your favourite 1-star review of your own work, Will? Do you have a favourite?
Well, that's one that I always laugh at because it's so bloody ridiculous. I had one the other day that was quite awful, and the person obviously didn't quite get it, but figured it out straight away. It could only be one person. He was like, You are so. You want to type on it? You're so clever. Well done. But you didn't get the rest of it. The other fucking 300 pages. So no, I mean, they're the ones I read really because they're great.
Oh yeah,
they're great fun. When I first started out, and I got one, it was like, it's the worst thing ever. But you soon realise that people.
Yeah, it's so weird. People. Yeah. I've never had one in reverse until this week where someone has given you a really high rating, but you know what? One of my favourites for ages was Not Bad.
Yeah.
Thanks, great. But this week it was, I really didn't like it. It was revolting. Full stop.
Oh yeah, I've had that. The best book I've read all year, without doubt. 3 stars. What? You've read some crap.
I don't think you understand this. Yeah. What about? And it's heartening always. Always dead heartening to know that. Books like Fight Club still get their fair share of incredible people. Which is where we ask what we're all reading, isn't it, Chris?
Well,
what are we all reading?
Well, I have 2 things on the go because I always like to. So I got one on my Kindle. It's called A Wash of Black.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, should have that finished by the end of the week. And then I've got Final Cut by S.J. Watson as my paperback.
Ooh, nice.
Cool.
Yes, which I've had for a while, and he was like, "Please read it and tell me what you think," because he's been very nice to me, and he's done a couple of quotes on my last 2 books, and I don't know, it's crazy to think someone who's sold a gajillion books cares what you think of their book. So. It wasn't sent to me for a quote or anything. It was just like, let me know what you think, and it was very nice of him. So I'm reading it now, and I will let him know. I think
him in your. This is what I mean. That seems unfair.
I know. I'm doing like 5 pages at a time, comparing, and I've written notes
in the shit column with Chris McDonald.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like that, but hey. Rob, what are you reading?
I'm a huge fan of Brian Panowitch, who an American writer, and his Bull Mountain books. And I'm going to start the new one tonight, Hard Cash Valley. You catch me in between 2 books at the moment. So, it's just so great. The worlds he builds are so just rich and beautiful. And it's all that escapism that I really love. I love, I love being taken somewhere else and where there's really hard people doing really hard things. And I find the whole thing really intoxicating and very cool. And I can't wait to get stuck into this tonight. What about you?
I'm having a class reading week because I finished Stuart Turton's The Devil in the Dark Water, which is like one of the longest books. I sort of struggle with, like, if you pick up a book and it's huge, I think, it's going to take me forever. And this was nearly 600 pages, but I read it in 4 days. I just could not put it down. So I finished that and then started 8 Detectives, which is one of the most original things. I mean, I read yours pretty recently, but really interesting, totally different, sort of golden age stories split in. It was really good. And now I'm on to Craig Robertson's Watch Him Die, which is really good.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a good week.
Can you read a lot when you're writing though? I tend to have a reading chunk, and I put them down. I don't read for ages while I finish a book.
I because like you, I can only write at night because of the day job kind of thing. But I sort of do 8 till 9 writing, 9 till 10 reading, and then go to bed. So I don't know. I try not to read crime fiction whilst I'm writing in case I sort of steal bits. So I tend to read different stuff and then Yeah. There's some days I get into writing and just don't read for a while, but a bit like you, but I tend to split it sort of evenly.
Yeah, when I'm in my first draft, when I'm doing a first draft, I'll read like my absolute heroes.
Yeah.
You know, the people who just totally inspire me like crazy. Like McKinty's and Winslow's, and you know, this, and then but when then it's open season the rest of the time. Yeah, anything that keeps it going, keeps me motivated. And like when you're reading, you know, stuff like that, it like makes you want to do.
Well, while I write, I keep Fight Club next to me, and like. And when I like I can't start a chapter or something, I'm thinking, I need a good sentence here. I'll open it up and read a bit and think, fuck you. and then it's like it annoys me into writing something good, you know.
Oh yeah, there's some writers where you're like, how dare you be so good? It's so annoying, you know. And so it's a love-hate.
Have you ever had any contact with them?
No, I'd be terrified. No, I have said with Nothing Important. I was like, please get him a copy of this and see if he'll read it. But never happened. But I mean, he's had some tough times. Like all his money got stolen and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And I kind of the last book, Adjustment Day. I started it and I couldn't quite get into it, and it made me a bit sad. So. Yeah, I'll do it though. I will go back to it.
Yeah.
I'm still sat on unread in Dublin.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Just so you know.
Nice.
Which is the most embarrassing thing I'll probably ever public broadcast. And I have said some embarrassing things.
Was it just a picture you sent him?
Yes, some lovely monochrome, you know, artfully composed. Yes. How did you know?
Well, I was just going to say that you are kind of like, I mean, I don't want to gush too much because it's not cool, but I went off reading for quite a while because of like my kids being born, and I just did not have time. So in 2018, or maybe it started 2019, I set up my blog to try and get myself reading more. And I came across Good Samaritans, and Good Samaritans was the first book I read as part of my sort of reintroduction to reading again. And I didn't put it on my blog because I didn't think I could put into words what it was, if you know what I mean, like what I felt about it and stuff, because I loved it so much. So you're kind of the reason that I started reading again, and that led to my writing stuff. So it's cool that you're on here today, and it means it's like sort of meeting a hero. So thank you.
Oh man. Oh damn! I'm all embarrassed now. That's great.
Say good stuff about Wash
also,
Black.
Yeah, I will. Oh, I get it. Yeah. Oh, well, it's okay. If you owe it all to me, all your success.
I do.
Yeah.
I love that though, because when you are face to face with someone who has inspired you in a certain way, I always feel I give myself kittens, if that's even the right expression, about do I say something? And like, no, I'd rather have said that that's what it meant to me. You know, I'd always rather they knew that. You know, no matter how embarrassing. Don Winslow DMs, check him.
Yeah, but it's crazy that you can do that kind of thing now, isn't it? You know, I mean, you look at like Harrogate Festival, and you can be wandering around and see these big successful writers, and actually have a word with them, and they're nice, and you can have a pint.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. Just to put it into perspective, I'm also unread in Wesley Snipes' DMs.
Even high there.
Wow.
Are they?
His are open. He doesn't follow me. He's just left his open.
Wow. I just rub your nose in it.
Yeah, I'm going to have a go as well.
Thank you.
We'll have a competition. Talking of Harrogate, how did you feel about the long listing? Was that nice, or do you not really care about awards?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think I always thought I didn't, but then when you get nominated for one, you're like, ooh, it's quite nice. So, so last year at the London Capital Crime, I was shortlisted for Best Independent Voice or something, and I was like, I'm never going to win this because, readers are voting. I don't have as many readers as some of the other people on that list. But then I got there and I thought, I might be in with a shot. And then obviously I didn't, which I knew. And I was absolutely devastated. It felt awful. And I wasn't expecting it to feel that bad. So when the Harrogate thing, the long listing came up, I was really chuffed because it's Harrogate, it's the big one. But I did the same thing. Never going to make that short list. I can see these people, they're definitely going to be on it. And I went, and then the day before, I was like, I might. And then I wasn't. I was like, I hate this whole industry, So yes, it's very nice, and it gives you a bit of exposure or whatever. So just take that. But I care and I don't.
Yeah.
I need. Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand. Well, thank you very much for listening, everybody. Please find us on Twitter at Blood Bros Pod. Blood Bros.
Start again.
Blood Bros.
We'll find.
I might just go and make another coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just say, you can find us on Twitter. We're there. It's been an absolute pleasure today to have the one and only Will Carver.
Thank you.
Thanks for everything.
It's great. It's brilliant.
Luckily, next week we'll have Sean back to keep...
whoever it is, they're lucky.
Next week. Oh, Harriet Tice next week.
Oh, she's nice, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, I was absolutely dreading this week
Cheers,
because... I'm in charge of the record and stop button, and my fear is that this didn't record or that it's static or something. So, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for everything.
Yeah, and yourself. Catch you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.